Hi, it's Scott from One Man Band. You're about to watch a special edition of the Masters of the Musiverse. I was approached by a group called the Emerging Artists Initiative. This is a very important group because they're trying to provide funds to help young emerging artists through this difficult time. If you are someone that values the arts, this is how you can invest in the future of the arts. It's very important that one, you donate. Go to the link below right now and go to their Facebook page and donate. Two, hear their message. Watch this video and hear what they're trying to tell you about what these artists are going through right now. And three, share it. I don't care if it's this video or just the link. Get people informed about this issue so that we can guarantee the future of these young artists and their art. Welcome to One Man Band and our Masters of the Musiverse series. Today I've got two people with me from the Emerging Artists Initiative, Evan Honorud and Maya Richardson. We're going to talk to them a little bit about that. Before we begin, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel and visit my Patreon page if you'd like to help me continue this venture. So my first question is, what is EAI?
So, Emerging Artist Initiative is a recently formed collective of young people in the arts, really across, I would say, the entire country right now. We have a lot of involvement from, and we've kind of grouped each of our friends into this effort to financially, emotionally, and professionally empower young artists, the next generation of artists. The kind of chief objective of Emerging Artist Initiative right now was establishing the Emerging Artist Relief Fund, in which we have the goal to raise $15,000 to fund 30 young and emerging artists with a $500 relief gift. And so I kind of had this idea to do a relief fund specifically for young people back in March when, hundreds of thousands of artists lost their jobs in a week. And we kind of saw this, I started talking to my friends and we saw this need that wasn't being met specifically with young people, and started working on it, seeing if it was going to be feasible, looped more people in, got more perspectives, and we officially launched a little over 2 weeks ago, July 1st.
And what are you sitting at right now for funds raised, do you know?
For funds, we are a little over a third of the way there. So
Okay.
We're a little over 6,000. Applications, on the other hand, we've been pretty overwhelmed with the response. We have over 600 applications from young artists across the country. 200 of those applications have been received in just the past 2 days. So there's definitely a need. Yeah. And it's exciting to see that amount of support, that amount of support come in, but also it's pretty scary and pretty just not a little depressing to see that that this many young people need help right now.
Yeah. So can you speak a little bit more to who specifically is going to benefit from this?
Maya, do you want to take on?
I can talk about that. So our priority funding, first and foremost, is going to BIPOC artists, trans artists, immunocompromised artists, rural artists, and Native artists. So it's already people who within the arts community are oppressed and often pushed to the side and may have a harder time finding the funds just because of statistically where things lie in our world and the way that everything is built. And I think overall, it honestly is for everyone, because specifically we're looking for young artists, and young artists are our future. I think without truly our generation and the generation that we're building, we don't have a future of the arts. So we're trying to just create a good space, a safe space for these people to know that the dream's not dead. Because I think for a lot of us, we're in a pandemic, there's a million scary, traumatizing things happening. And like Evan said, it is really scary, but the goal is to let us know that like, yeah, we're stepping into completely the unknown, but there's still something for us to step into. So we want to build the foundation and just create a good place.
Man, I didn't think about this until you said it, Maya, like how important it is to look at it that, okay, so yeah, we're going to be giving $500 to this artist, but what is this artist going to contribute for their career? You know, so like we need to support them now so they can continue their art because it's actually going to benefit us. So, and not to turn it selfishly, but that's, that's an important thing to look at right now.
Yeah, I'll bounce off of that and say one of the things that we like as a group are really passionate about right now is advocating for funding the artist first.
Yes.
And making, just like you said, like when you fund the artist first, you're equipping them with like the financial, professional, and emotional stability to create. And we're just really trying to push the message out there like that artists are the crux of any institution. And so when like institutions, theaters, community theaters, museums, arts, any arts organizations, they don't exist without the artists themselves. And so we're really trying to say fund the artist first. And if you're donating to an organization or a relief fund for an institution, kind of look critically at where that donation is going and if it's directly benefiting a working artist or going, you know, to like operating support. And it's not something that we're not trying to be divisive in the arts community about like saying where money should go, but it's just like, let's look critically at this and where the need is most right now. And that's with the individual survival expenses of artists.
So kind of two follow-up questions then. Are you saying that 100% of the donation goes to artists? I mean, is that what you guys are able to do with this?
Yes. So because we are not a nonprofit and we're just basically a group of young people trying to raise money to distribute to young artists as gifts, very close to 100% of funds are going to the young artist, directly into the pockets of young artists. The small, less than 5% that doesn't is for website maintenance and fees, just like that. We are all volunteers. We are all doing this on our own time, and none of us are taking any monies or payment from this project.
So I don't think we've talked about this yet. When I was going through your website, I think when I saw this originally, I was thinking this was like a grant program kind of thing to get them creating art, but it's really more about helping them survive, right? The money is intended. Can you speak to what the money is intended for?
So a lot of this money is really going into people's immediate need and survival. So we're giving people money for food, for rent, for medical bills. A lot of people are either on unemployment or they're not getting unemployment right now. So we're really trying to emphasize that when we look at art, we have to think of artists as people. Because I think a lot of times people see art and they see this final product of something and they kind of like step themselves out of the fact that this is a real human being that also needs to survive, that also made this.
Yeah, that's really important. Like you look at this piece of art and that person had to have lunch at some point in time, right? I mean, that person had bills and yeah, boy, it's funny because I'll say it's not even something I don't think about when I look at the art. I mean, I don't go through that. I probably will now. Yeah. So you mentioned that right now this isn't a nonprofit. Is there any plan for this to maybe become a nonprofit as you go along?
It all depends on how much money we raise, and how much support we get. We've gotten a lot of support right now, and it's not just monetary, it's like encouragement, and we're obviously helping fill a need that isn't there in the relief fund like market. As far as now, to all our knowledge, we are the only relief fund nationally that specifically addresses young people. But it really depends if we do want to pursue nonprofit status or find a fiscal sponsor on how much money we receive. We'd like to make our goal of $15,000 and basically kind of take a week, take a breather, see what worked, see what didn't, and talk with the team and then evaluate from there if this is a more long-term sustainable project.
So how are you going to whittle this down then?
if you've got, I mean, you said a few hundred applicants already. Do you have a group that's going to make the decision?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on that team. It's called the Relief Assistant Team, and we call ourselves the Rats. Which is and it's such a hard job because we can't put people as numbers because, like I've been saying, people are people and there's a need, but we try to objectively really look at the need and see, is it rent, is it food? We have some credentials of like, are you under 30? Did you just graduate within 3 years of getting a degree of some sort? So we have some objective things to look at, but it is a really hard job, especially because we ultimately can only choose 30. So.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think, first of all, it's going to be like, I think when you get that 15,000, I don't think it'll be a question of if. There's a lot of support out there. When you get it, it's going to be like, oh, this is awesome. But then that hard moment of so I don't envy you in that decision. I admire what you guys are doing, but such a hard decision. Let's talk then a little specifically about what exactly a candidate looks like because I don't think we got to the details of that.
We have certain eligibility requirements for any applicant. They have to be either under 30 within 3 years of receiving a certificate or degree, or within 3 years of working as an arts professional. Either one of those qualify. So you can actually be above 30, but like you can still be an emerging artist, but be above 30. And we're trying to really restrict the amount of barriers that we have to this application. You have to, obviously be a practicing artist. And we have a very broad definition of art. And a lot of relief funds are really successful in having a broad definition because, you get a very diverse array of applicants. So like an architect is considered an artist in a lot of ways. Like a chef, if they consider their work artistry, like we will review your application. The other thing is that you have to have lost income or an opportunity due to COVID-19. And in the arts industry right now, that is everyone. I don't know a single artist that has not been affected by COVID-19. Even self-employed artists that aren't, working gigs or aren't contract workers have been affected. And the fourth and final eligibility requirement is that you have to be in dire financial need, just like Maya talked about earlier. We want this money to go towards essential living expenses, your grocery, your rent, your utility bills, things that you need as a human being to survive. And because we're only able to fund such a small number of applicants right now because of how much money we're trying to raise, we're trying to steer away from funding things like, tuition and even like artist expenses, like things like that. Like those are all critical to like learning and practicing in your artistry, but we want to help the people that are most susceptible right now to putting the arts as a back burner in their career, putting like the people most susceptible in society that are more likely to say, I cannot pursue a career in the arts right now because of this, and are likely to move into another industry.
So you've narrowed your applicants down to this group of being under 30, receiving a degree or certificate within 3 years, and then what was that third piece?
Within 3 years of working as a professional.
Yeah. So can you speak to like why you narrowed it there and didn't just include artists of all ages and experience?
Yes. So we're really focusing on emerging artists. I think all of us have kind of seen this industry that we were barely in yet, or that we've been dreaming about, kind of absolutely disappear or completely just crumble. So that already makes it hard. And I think we're bringing a reassurance that like we are still here and we're still working to create a space for something that is now going to be, who knows how much is hard to jump into, and kind of keep that spark there for people. And young people are truly the foundation of the arts, and we don't want to be left out of the conversation. And a lot of other collectives or relief funds, young people don't really qualify the same way that we do. So we just don't leave people out.
Yeah, like they have their own reasons for it, but if you look at like the Actors Fund, I know you have to have a certain amount of experience before you can get in there. So you're finding that kind of threshold of people that are, or maybe that group of people that haven't met that threshold would be a better way to look at that. Evan, you were going to say something?
Yeah, so like a lot of these really popular relief funds, they're doing incredible work for the arts community. But when we started this, we saw that it's really disqualifying young people because of either union requirements, which young people, most young people are not unionized yet. Union requirements, work experience. A lot of relief funds require like 5 to 10 years of work experience. Young people don't have that. Making a certain percentage of your income from the arts is a big one. Young people are, if you're not established in your art form, you're most likely working a survival job and not making at least 50% of your income from your art. Things like that, that all kind of become this massive obstacle for young people when applying to these things. And that's not all relief funds. And I'm not, we don't want to, again, try to be divisive, but we're trying to like meet a need that isn't being met with the COVID-19 response in the arts community, specifically relating to young people.
Right. We're just creating a really specific space.
Yeah, and I think that's important that you acknowledge, because it's not a tear on the Actors Fund and all those other things that are out there, because they're doing great things. But on the same side, it's easy for like me to watch Hamilton and then be moved, because it's, you know, like, that was a big push when Hamilton came out, is like, hey, now give to the Actors Fund, which is great. But now you guys have seen this this group of people that's not represented by that, and you've created something. And I want to say that I really applaud this effort. You have my support, not financially yet, but I promise it's coming.
We appreciate anything. So
yeah. And before I close, is there anything you guys want to say? Is there anything we didn't cover with this, with our conversation?
Maya, do you want to talk a little bit about, like, we're also trying to like do, like, give young artists a platform. So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So in addition to trying to fund young artists, earlier we said we're also trying to emotionally support people. So we have an Instagram that is @eai.fund, and we're also providing, you know, mental health resources, education, current education going on around racial issues and anti-racism and how to tackle that in primarily white institutions. And we are also trying to give young artists a voice through social media, which is this incredible tool right now of education and just finding other people and sharing the community. So if you tag us in your work, we will share it on our page. We have a blog that we start to do weekly, and Evan and I have done our pieces. Evan's piece is coming soon. So that's really exciting. But we're encouraging people to write to us about anything that is on their mind about what it's like to be a young artist right now.
Yeah. Excellent. And I'll share all those in the description below, so everyone can go to the video description to check those resources out.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I do just want to close here our conversation with saying that I, again, appreciate what you're doing. I want to encourage everybody out there to consider any amount, consider donating to this effort, so that look at it as an investment into the future of the arts. You might not directly see the payoff today, but it might be the artists that you appreciate in just a few years here. And if we can support them and really like help them survive this pandemic and all the things it has caused for the arts community. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. It's been really fun to talk to you.
Because this money is going to people's rent, to pay food, to pay medical bills, and trying to like truly have people recognize that.
So sorry. I was trying so hard.
I like to go,
I've got a loud sneeze anyway, and then my microphone's like right here.
Okay.
Amazing.